I have a 1990 Toyota Celica GT-S. Previous owner included an amp and a bazooka subwoofer in the back. That amp is a 500 watt maximum power GM-A3702 by Pioneer. It's a very simple setup. The red wire goes to the positive terminal on the battery, and it gets wired in whatever fashion that you want to hide the wire in the car. That gray one is the ground wire, so as long as it touches the metal on the chassis, that's good. And then you have a blue system control wire, and that's going to turn on the amp either at ignition or when the radio is on. And the problem was that that system control blue wire was not connected to anything, so the amp didn't turn on when the car was on, or it didn't turn on when the radio was on. So a way that I went around this was to remove the battery, to remove the radio, and then take a look at the harness back here. Which one of those means power? I found a link online that explained what each color means, and essentially this big block right here has a gray color wire. That gray color wire is what gives power to the radio set from the battery. So I ended up putting that red wire, which is spliced to the blue wire because the blue wire was short, so I had to get some cable to extend it, and I ran it through in here, and then I connected it alongside, parallel to the gray cable. Once that blue red cable was touching the gray cable, then it was giving power to the amp right there, and you would see that when turning on the car. So if I turn the car on, there it is, it turns on itself, a blue light. So that's how I ended up hooking up a simple amp and a subwoofer to the original factory radio of a 1990 Toyota Celica GT-S. I don't know if this is the same thing with other models. This is a 1990 Toyota Celica 5th gen, but this thing just pops out. So I kind of just pop this out, up a little bit. Okay, and then we got to remove those. So real simple. I obviously don't have the correct tools for this. Put these off. Put them somewhere safe. And that's going to be able to pop this part out right here, this bottom part. Take out the monies. But I noticed that when I was trying to take this part out, it was putting a lot of stress up here, and I kind of cracked it a little bit. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to get a flat head like this. You're going to put it up there so you guys can see it, and kind of just pop it out, just like that. And now you can take out that plastic piece, and then all it is, just to remove the radio and pop it out, just one bolt, one Phillips screw here, there, and there. So now we have that loosened up, that one loosened up, the bottom one loosened up. So now we should be able to just, let's actually take these off first. As you can see, this is the first time. Okay. Take these Phillips screws out. I'm gonna take this out. And this is the main radio piece. So back here, there's a link that I found online that told me what each one of these colors meant back there. And the way that I tested it was I disconnected, because I've never done this before, so I don't know what these cables were for. I ended up finding out that that's for like the output for the speakers. And then I ended up taking that smaller piece right here out first and seeing if the radio would power on. It's still powered on. So then I took off this one And of course, you know, that's the last one, so I knew that power is coming from this big one based on that logic. But again, I'm not a technician. And then I found a link that told me what each of the colors meant, and I found out that the gray one is the power to the radio. So this red wire is what I spliced to the blue wire, and it goes all underneath here. It runs here and it goes back to the amp. So this red wire is just an extension of that blue system control wire from the amp, and I just put it into the gray wire port. To put it back together, you put that screw in, this screw in, that screw in back, and it really is just all a matter of putting everything back how you found it. So the nice thing is that everything just snaps in perfect. Get that little oomph. Put the screws back in here, and then we just snap this piece right back on. Screws are in place right here. And now turn this around, and it should just fall into place right there. So now, put that in. Radio's off. Turn the car on. Take a look at the amp. Amp is showing light is blue right there. And it sounds killer. Well, that's it. Hope you guys benefit from this. Bye.